Gave me a little rest last night and got me up this morning to walk another day on his good earth. Planted my feet on the floor and got me on over to this Black Talk radio station and greeted at the door by Ro Brown.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well,
Good
thank you
morning.
for coming in, sir.
Thank
and
you.
soon after that, I mean, not even minutes, saw producer Jared on the case, on the scene, making sure all the things move along for today's show. It is 7:01 a.m., and if you got somewhere to be at 7:15, you got about 14 minutes before you need to be there. But, it wouldn't hurt to be there in 9 minutes, so you're about 5 minutes early. There are a number of people, including coaches, that say to be on time is late.
Yeah. If you're
No,
5
no
minutes,
time.
if you're 5 minutes early,
Yeah.
you're late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to be in
That
there
kind of
warming
talk,
up.
yeah.
Get ready to go. Well, it is 7:01 a.m. again, and we've got some pretty beautiful weather out there right now. We always like to let you know what we felt, what we saw as we were coming on into WBOK. Right now, it's about 78 degrees, and the sun is out. It's a feel like of the mid-80s, right around 84 degrees. And for the day, it looks like we're going to get up into the high 80s in the late morning, mid to late morning, and on into 90-degree stretch around 1 o'clock, early this afternoon. The other thing that'll be coming along is some clouds as the morning develops, but it looks like low percentages of rain, so just some clouds. However, into the afternoon, the chances of rain increase. So we're going to be hitting a 42% chance of rain about 1, and 54% chance of rain about 2, and 37% chance of rain about 3. And again, those are percentages of rain. And Roy and I were talking last night, and my weather wasn't his weather.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we had major rain, downpour. It was not sprinkling. I'm sure some of that noise I heard must have been thunder. And I'm on the phone with the man, and he's like, not over here.
That's New Orleans weather during the summer. That's how it goes.
But, man, I could have driven to your
didn't-
face in, 10, 15 minminutes?
I didn't-
I mean,
And, we got a hard shower for about 3 minutes, typical, usual kind of New Orleans summertime thing.
Yeah.
And then it was gone.
wow.
And it was nothing but sunshine.
Wow.
And then I'm looking at television and they're doing live shots on the local news about, people parking on neutral grounds and rushing to get their cars, on the neutral ground and flooding in the streets.
Yeah. I saw some of that flooding.
You know,
I
and I'm
avoided
I'm
most
going,
of
what?
it. But
And the
Yeah.
lady standing there doing a live shot at the Lindy Boggs place that they're about to demolish. And she's standing in this just driving rain doing a live shot.
mm-hmm.
We're sitting there with sunshine, blue skies. What?
All right, Mr.
6,
TV
7,
man.
6, 7 miles away.
Yeah, Mr. TV man, help me understand that.
What?
Live shots I get as a general principle.
Okay.
But if it's horrible weather,
Okay.
why are you standing in the rain, the thunderstorm, the hurricane?
Well, it may have just come up.
Okay.
It may have just started, you set to do a live shot someplace. And, it depends on the, I probably shouldn't say it. Depends on the reporter,
Yeah. Okay.
Some people saying,
I'm not doing that.
I'm not standing out here in this rain and doing that, or they may go someplace with cover, or maybe they'll use an umbrella or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I won't call her name. This is a young reporter that I think is really good.
Okay, good.
A
Good,
kind of
good,
new
good.
reporter that I think is really good.
Well, we got a couple
And she
of
just
those
seemed like the type
moving
that
into
would-
the market.
Seems
And,
like the type that would stand out there. Okay.
Yeah, we got a couple of those moving in the market, and it's good to see. Good to see.
Yeah.
Stay here long enough, they'll get even better because New Orleans is a pretty good place for
it prepares you
news,
very
sports,
well.
and information. Man,
Yes.
yeah. It's
You know, make it sound like a smaller market training ground, but it really is a terrific training ground.
It really is. It really is. So, looking ahead to the weekend, the weather looks like it's going to turn from a day like this to more rain across more of the greater New Orleans region. So we're talking about rain chances going into the 50%, 60%, and 70% by early next week. So we got today high of 92, and that's going to be true Thursday, Friday, but there's going to be 50% chance of rain more steadily throughout later today, Thursday and Friday. The weekend is looking like it's going to be more of the rain for you and for me as we hit about 60% chance of rain. That's going to be more of the area, not everywhere, but more of the area, and it's going to cool down from 92 to 91 on Saturday and 90 on Sunday. So for those of you who say 90s is too hot, well, we're going to get a little hot. Not a lot hot, but a little hot. But although it will feel like it's in the mid-90s or above, and but that rain will cut down on that temperature a bit. So that'll improve your attitude, perhaps, as you think about our wonderful 90-degree weather that we get in July, August, bit of September too. So, but there's a lot ahead for you on the Good Morning Show. And happy to say that we're going to get some news and information about the recent legislative session and the context of how Louisiana colleges and institutions are going to spend the millions that they receive. So it was a tough legislative session, very tough, but that doesn't mean they're so out of their mind that they're not going to fund higher education. So we're going to have Piper Hutchinson from the Louisiana Illuminator with us to talk about that. And we'll definitely ask her about how our HBCUs did during this legislative session, because we definitely want to know about that. We will also take a look at the LEAP test scores. We're going to get a state perspective. What's it look like across the state of Louisiana? Generally, there's improvements in the LEAP scores, although English scores are so-so, not so good. No real significant improvements there, is my understanding. And we'll be talking with my colleague, Patrick Wall, who's the education editor at the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com. And we will talk with him about New Orleans in particular, because New Orleans students really jumped up in their test scores for 2026. So what's behind that? What does those scores look like? I know we got a lot of folks in our WBOK family of listeners who are always concerned about what kind of education our kids are getting. LEAP scores are just one indicator, of course, but we'll see what Mr. Wall has to provide on that score, so to speak, on that score.
Yeah, I caught that.
TT.
I caught that. Trying to be clever. I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
Yep. And there've been a couple of deaths. We're going to take some time to look at a couple of gentlemen who have passed on. One of them is State Senator Larry Selders. We'll take some time to look at his passing, which happened yesterday. And we're going to take a look at legendary New Orleans musician. Who's that?
James Rivers.
Yeah.
James Rivers passed away a couple of days ago at age 89. Most people know James Rivers around here as an outstanding woodwind guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, saxophone, clarinet, flute, harmonica, bagpipes, just about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific musician, terrific entertainer. We're going to talk to local bassist Donald Ramsey. Spent a little time playing with James Rivers and plays around with everybody around here now. And lots of work on the gospel scene and everything that he's been doing for years and years. And went on the road with guitarist John Scofield at one point. But, you know, Donald's going to be around 8 o'clock to talk to us about James Rivers, who passed away.
Yeah.
Really good guy and a terrific musician.
Yeah, it's been around a long time.
Yeah.
My sister, one of my sisters, and one of my brothers got married the same year that Cheryl and I did in 1983, and we had a good time after our wedding.
Oh yeah,
and since that was our days of throwing house parties, we had a lot of friends who didn't see us married. They just came
okay.
for the house.
Okay, all right. I got you. It's like those people who don't go to the funeral,
right.
but they show up for the repast, right?
Oh. What
That's
a
what
nice
it's like.
service. Wink, wink.
Yeah, like that crowd. Yeah, okay, I got you.
But all that to say that my sister Cheryl has quite good taste, and James Rivers played at hers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Your sister Cheryl has good taste. Yeah. I know your sister Cheryl. I know she has good taste.
Yep. So James Rivers was hitting it way back then.
Oh yeah.
And still going. I believe he was at Jazz Fest recently.
Been at it for I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. Yeah. He was one of the greats. He to me, he was that, you know, and I always brag about these people, and we'll talk to Donald about it because he's one, you know, those New Orleans musicians, they're just different. They're different.
Yep.
They just are, okay, you know, and James was definitely one of those.
Yep.
Can I sneak in one other passing?
Yeah.
Just, you know, Doug Blackman was a coach here, coached at Carr. Most people will know him as coaching at Carr. You know, when Carr, you know, during the first years that it became a high school, from a junior high school, you know, during the first state championship football runs in the 90s, Doug Blackman was one of the assistant coaches there. Well, Doug passed away recently, and his funeral is coming up Friday, I think, at Holy Ghost. Or what people, you know, the older people may know it as Holy Ghost, but St. Catherine Drexel on Louisiana Avenue. And, you know, his funeral is Friday morning there. And my condolences to Doug's family, your wife, Judy, and, you know, I'm sure a lot of people who worked with him are obviously saddened at the passing by Doug, who's a really good coach, good at what he did, and a really good guy, a really nice guy. His funeral is Friday morning at St. Catherine Drexel / Holy Ghost Catholic Church on Louisiana Avenue. So just wanted to mention that.
Well, that's unfortunate. We all know that our time is coming, but it makes it tougher when somebody dies so young, and that's certainly the case of Mr. Selders, and it's unfortunately, all we can do is pray for that soul and pray for the family and the friends. We know our grieving time is coming, but how we're able to deal with that is often challenging. Some do better than others.
Yep.
Some do better than others, but it can be a tough time. It took me quite a while to move on when we lost my mom. Doesn't mean I wasn't working, I wasn't doing things. It's just like constantly in my mind.
I hear you.
You know? So, yep. So I want to know how many of you all are now familiar with the name Nolan Wells.
I'm not.
Nolan Wells.
Nolan Wells.
Now, did you hear about the young man
Oh,
who went
is that
missing?
his name?
Yeah.
Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ocean Springs student and athlete. And he and some friends went out for a good time to Horn Lake, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And that is northern DeSoto County, I believe, and south of Memphis, or thereabout. Anyway, this is the kind of place that people do camping and boating and fishing, and the only way to get there is by boat.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to get there is by boat. And so he went out with some friends, and the friends returned, and he didn't. So he didn't return. Young man is black. Friends are white. Some mysterious circumstances at this point, as is true for a number of police investigations, that you don't have all the details.
Right.
When somebody goes missing, that's why they're missing, because you haven't found them. Then you investigate, and hopefully you find them, and you find that they just took a break and just needed to get away. That happened a few years ago here. Chef decided to, I just needed to get away. Didn't tell my family, didn't tell anybody else. I just needed a break. But sometimes it's just not that. And it's, something else. And hopefully you find the person alive and doing well, even if they've been doing something, been through something. But in some cases, they're dead. And that is the case with this situation after being missing over the holiday weekend. His body was discovered. And family is pretty up in arms, and it seems they feel that there was foul play. But I'm going to bring this back up during the show, because I want to know who's been paying attention to this and what you think about these circumstances. We got a report from a Mississippi television station, WLOX.
Happening right now, Jackson County authorities are seeking any pictures or video taken on Horn Island this weekend that could help answer questions about what happened to Nolan Wells. The Jackson County coroner says it could be a couple of weeks before we know the cause of death of the 18-year-old. The coroner says dental records confirmed today the body recovered Monday off Horn Island is Wells. But results from the tests done during today's autopsy by the state medical examiner will take many days to come back. Wells was reported missing after visiting Horn Island with a group of friends on the 4th of July. His family is now grieving their beloved son and a life gone too soon. Brandy McGill shows us how Nolan Wells is being remembered.
Who was Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old that went missing on 4th of July out at Horn Island? Well, he was a 2025 graduate here at Ocean Springs High School, a multi-sports athlete who more so dominated the football field as a Greyhound, who went on to play at the collegiate level at Southwest Mississippi Community College. Well, his disappearance and now apparent death has sparked pain and hurt across South Mississippi, causing many to take to social media. The search for 18-year-old Nolan Wells went on for more than 40 hours, and his mother has not been silent since, thanking everyone for their support, love, and resources during this difficult time on social media. Nolan's mom also asking the public to respect their privacy and allow them to grieve. All this after her son was last seen July 4th around 3 p.m. on Horn Island. Nolan spent countless Friday nights on the field at Ocean Springs High School, where family, friends, and community members all cheered him on. And just like on game nights, the community is still supporting Nolan and standing in solidarity with his family. Comments like these have been flooding the internet, many sharing love and prayers. One reading, sending you and your family a virtual hug. There are no words. And another reading, we stand with you, praying for a thorough investigation and peace. Both Ocean Springs School District and Southwest Mississippi Community College have also expressed their deepest condolences. The college is even offering resources like professional counselors and local ministers to assist teammates and friends as they return to campus. Now, this is a tragic situation, and do understand there's far more questions than answers right now. But as law enforcement has stated, this is an ongoing investigation. In Ocean Springs, Brandy McGill, WLOX News.
Okay, so there you have it. That's a news report out of Mississippi about the Nolan Wells case. I want to revisit that during the show, find out what your thinking is, what your curiosities are. And we're about to go to break, but real quick, Mr. Rowe, any immediate
When I
thoughts?
first heard the story on the news, I took it as a missing persons story.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It was.
like an Amber Alert kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I took it as. You
Yep.
know, I had no idea about water, about being on when I first heard the story,
Right.
and
I think a lot of people.
and then the second time I heard the story, I'm going, well, if he's missing, I mean, if he's missing, does that mean he fell in the water?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's missing mean?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and that's at that point, that's where it was.
All right.
And then I find this out.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we're going to talk some more about that during the show. It's 7:22 a.m. You got to be somewhere at 7:25. That's about 3 minutes from now. You got a little bit more time if it's 7:30 is your appointment time or your time to check in at work. As always, watch out for our babies and our kiddos. They might not be at school, but they certainly are running around. Nord camp, swimming pools. They're at day camp, summer camp. They're in your neighborhood at the park, and they are on your street and maybe even in your driveway. So watch out for them since they might be chasing the ball or, looking at the phone. So be careful out there. I know we're going to have some calls. So, Ro Brown, what's that talk line number?
The number is 504-582-9422.
This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. Happening now, New Orleans police are looking for leads after a deadly shooting in the 7th Ward. It happened around 8 p.m. last night at the intersection of North Rocheblave and Allen Streets. The victim died at the scene. We're working to learn what led to the shooting and if a suspect is in custody. If you have any information that can help police, call Crime Stoppers. You know the number. It's 504-822-1111. Today, New Orleans leaders are set to make an announcement about a new economic development project in the East. Mayor Helene Moreno, Councilmember Jason Hughes, and other leaders will launch the New Orleans East Investment and Job Corridors. The goal is to make the East a hub for job creation and advanced industry. Mid-City residents pressing developers over the soon-to-be demolished Lindy Boggs Hospital. 1 year from now, the site will be transformed into a stormwater retention facility. The abandoned building has sat idle since Katrina, but next week the process for the future begins. Lindy Boggs has a long history serving the community going back by about a century. And a beloved West Bank cafe will close its doors for good, becoming the latest in a string of closures across the area. Terrytown Cafe on Carol Sue Avenue says they made the tough decision to close after 41 years. They took to social media saying they decided not to renew their lease after the owners of the building sold it. They said they're staying positive and thanked all the customers and employees over the years. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great day.
Trying to grow your business or increase traffic to your location? We can help. WBOK 1230 AM has a number of solutions that will meet your individual needs. Give one of our consultants a call today at 504-582-9420 or email us at info@wbok1230.com. And remember, an investment with WBOK is an investment in our community. Call today.
Life has a way of shifting priorities, changing needs, and pivoting plans. Home Bank is there for all of them. Their bankers partner with you for every step along the way, from understanding your needs to celebrating your success. Home Bank is invested in the vibrant spirit of our community and in you. So partner with them. Stop on by any banking center in the greater New Orleans area or visit home24bank.com to get started today. Good for business, good for life. Home Bank, a member of the FDIC. Climate Hope NOLA presents this month's climate keyword, adaptation. Climate adaptation means preparing our communities for stronger storms, hotter days, flooding, and rising water. That means planting trees, restoring wetlands, protecting homes, and helping families recover stronger after disasters. In New Orleans, resilience is part of who we are and how we survive. Learn more, stay informed, and take action with Climate Hope NOLA. Visit Team Hope NOLA on Instagram to learn more.
Throughout July, Louisiana residents get half off general admission to the National World War II Museum. Take advantage of 50% off and beat the summer heat at New Orleans' #1 attraction. Don't wait. Plan your visit at nationalww2museum.org.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Partly cloudy skies for today. We are expecting highs 91 to 96 degrees, feeling like the triple digits once again. The other story for us, the rain. We are expecting more storms to arrive in the afternoon. These will once again be hit or miss, so not everyone's going to see them. But if you do see some rain, any of that could be heavy. That could lead to some flash flood issues and a lot of lightning. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Rachel.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and happy to be here with you, Good Morning Show family of listeners. Good show so far. I hope you think so. This Nolan Wells thing is really bothering me. Like Roe, I thought it was simply a missing person. They'd find the person in a matter of hours and certainly a day. And that is not what happened. So we're going to explore that some more during the Good Morning Show. Right now, we're going to have a conversation, as I told you that we would. The legislative session was a tough one for the state of Louisiana and New Orleans in particular. But they did take care of some business, and they did take care of some things for higher education in this state. One of the reporters who's all over this is Piper Hutchinson from the Louisiana Illuminator. You've heard her here on the Good Morning Show previously. Good morning, Piper. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You're on with Will Sutton and Ro Brown, my co-host today. And I enjoyed reading your stuff anyway. But I enjoyed reading your higher ed budget info because I'm sometimes in academia and care about higher ed and likes to know what happening with our higher education institutions in Louisiana in particular. And I'd like you to give us an idea of how higher ed did during this legislative session, and then we can talk about some particular institutions.
Yes, so baseline funding for higher education has remained basically the same throughout Governor Jeff Landry's term, which in some ways is kind of a reduction in their budget considering inflation. But in terms of one-time spending, higher education did pretty good this year. There was a lot of money in the construction budget, more than last year, for new buildings and for maintaining existing buildings on college campuses. And there was way more money than last year for special projects at universities, which range in like scope and purpose from, like $10,000 to Southern University for their marching band, to, $3 or $4 million for major academic programs at some of the universities. So it was really a lot of money that we're talking about, something like $78 million in total across the four systems.
So let's break it down a little bit by system. And, for sake of time, I don't want you to have to name all of the institutions in each of these systems, but the Louisiana Community and Technical College system. And tell us a couple of the schools types of schools that are included with that system and what their funding looks like.
So, like as the name implies, the Community and Technical College system is almost every two-year college in Louisiana, excluding LSU Eunice and Southern University Shreveport. So some of their big projects included campus development at their Baton Rouge campus and a big investment in workforce development programs, which is a big priority of the governor. Their allotment for that includes $3 million to train workers for the Hyundai steel plant that's being built in Ascension Parish.
Okay, and how about the University of Louisiana system? And of course, here in New Orleans, we know that University of New Orleans has been a part of that system, but they have now officially moved to the Louisiana State University system. But when we look at University of Louisiana system, what types of schools are a part of that system, and how did they do?
So the UL system schools would include Nichols, UL Lafayette, UL Monroe, Louisiana Tech. They're kind of scattered across the state. They did really well this year. A lot of their money went to refurbishing some of their major buildings, including $31 million for a big project at Louisiana Tech. Southeastern in Hammond is getting a $22 million for a new athletic facility. And one thing of note in the supplemental bill is $4 million for Louisiana Tech to switch athletic conferences, which has been a big story in athletics in the last couple of years because they were actually sued over it.
Okay. Well, fortunately, Ro Brown, Sports Ace, is here with me today, so perhaps we'll have a comment or question, too, about that. But meanwhile, let's stay on the system funding, and how did the LSU system, the biggest system with the biggest public school, do? How did they do?
LSU had another good year, a little bit less construction money than in previous years. The main campus got about $38 million to replace its library, which has been a big high-profile project for them. There's also a big investment, $20 million for a dental simulation facility for the medical school in New Orleans, which is going to be a big deal for the city.
Wow. Well, I want to know more about that. That's a lot of money for a simulation. I guess that's the world we're moving into. But how about the Southern University system? And, of course, some people, of course, hear Southern University, they think Baton Rouge. But it is a system. And the only historically black university system of several higher education institutions. So how did they make out this budget year?
Southern had a big increase in its investment. One big thing that they've got going on is $50 million for a new STEM complex at its main campus. There's also an investment to help stabilize the campus, which is like right alongside the Mississippi River. And there's some severe erosion to the point where the campus was like almost falling into the river. So this is like much needed money to help stabilize the campus. At the New Orleans campus, there was a big investment in evening and weekend classes, which, that campus mostly serves non-traditional students. So that's going to be a big investment that's going to help people who are working and trying to go to school at the same time.
Miss Hutchinson, hi. How are you, Miss Hutchinson? I'm Ro Brown, and I'm a sports guy basically. But Will lets me come and sit next to him so I can learn something, okay? Now and then. You kind of jumped on something that I was going to ask you about, but just in general, although I'm a sports guy and I look at these numbers of what goes where and what they spend money on, and, I'm kind of weird in that I always feel uncomfortable that there's too much emphasis on athletics. Am I right in thinking that?
I think that's a big concern that a lot of people have, especially at a moment where there is so much public money that's going to athletic programs, and these athletic programs are somewhat of a drain on many public universities. A lot of people, they think about LSU when they think about athletics, and that's an athletic department that's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But most athletic departments in the state are losing a lot of money.
Right.
And people are really concerned about that.
Mm-hmm. Because when you talk about, I think I heard you say that there's one of these things where money that goes to that'll be divided among all the Division I athletic programs. And most people don't realize we have a lot of Division I athletic programs.
Yeah.
Grambling and Southern and Louisiana Tech and, UL and, Monroe and McNeese State. They're all Division I, okay? They may not be Division I at the level LSU is at, but they're all Division I programs. And, I wondered I knew that La Tech was changing conferences. They're leaving Conference USA and going to the Sun Belt Conference. And when you do that, you got to pay money to move.
Right.
And I wondered, if the state was going to pay any of that. And sounds like you kind of answered the question for me, I think.
Yes, so the state is paying $4 million to help with that. The rest is being covered by donors, but that's a pretty big chunk of state money going to aid that switch.
It is. I mean, just for them to leave a conference, as opposed to, building something or whatever it is. That's all I want to tell you. I guess basically what I'm telling you, as a sports guy, I feel uncomfortable with the amount of money that the state uses. That's just me, okay? I'm not saying everybody's that way.
Significant donors who provide it. Doesn't come from
the
state budget.
And in all fairness, I mean, to LSU, I mean, I think that's pretty much how it's run. I don't know. The state didn't pay to enlarge Tiger Stadium or anything like that.
Right.
That wasn't a big chunk of money from the state, if they got any from the state at all. Because Tiger Athletic Foundation and the LSU, I think LSU's athletic department is kind of self-sufficient. Kind of. I'm sure they get something.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, but the others, there's so many others.
Well, and they don't get the level of donor support.
Exactly.
That LSU gets.
Exactly.
LSU's got a national brand.
Yeah.
That others have to some degree. But,
not even to that degree.
No. They have, okay, put it this way. Some of them have a national brand, but it's not as high a profile national brand as LSU. Disagree. Southern University, you don't think they have a national brand? Grambling State University, you don't think they have a national brand?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what you call a national brand.
Well, when I wear stuff and I go through airports and I'm in some Western city airport and people recognize it and say, hey.
You see, and if you asked me this several years ago, I probably would have agreed with you.
Okay. All right. I hear you. But we got Piper on the phone.
Yeah.
So, let's talk some more, Piper, about what kinds of things this money is being used for. You mentioned some things, but we got in this WBOK family of listeners a number of folks who are particularly interested in our HBCUs. So let's touch on that. How did our HBCUs make out? Because Louisiana is not the only place where they have been historically underfunded. And all of these institutions have concerns about infrastructure, capital development, repairs, renovations. But sometimes it's for other things. But oftentimes there's some infrastructure issues. So you mentioned Southern University's campus, and part of it can be falling off the bluff. The bluff is a very prominent part of Southern University. So I'll let you take it from here and talk about some of the other things connected to our HBCUs.
Yes. So the infrastructure problem is a huge problem across Louisiana. I think there's about a $2 billion deferred maintenance backlog across all four systems. But as you said, the funding issue is particularly acute at the HBCUs, which the Biden administration said Southern University has been underfunded to a tune of about $1 billion compared to LSU over the past 50 years. And Southern University leaders are looking to the state to kind of make them whole. And there was a request to increase their base funding so that they can kind of catch up. And as you may know, the university is trying to increase its research profile. But the investment in the infrastructure is a big part of that. So this STEM science complex, like I said, is getting $50 million. There's a push to renovate its major agricultural building, which the Ag Center at Southern and at LSU, is a big part of the academics, but there's also a lot of research dollars that comes through agriculture. So that's a big, important thing for the university to have a sound building for that. And they're also going to start working on a new business building at the university. So there's a lot of new building, but a lot of need to refurbish the existing buildings, which have some significant infrastructure problems, including at the dorms. There's a need for new AC units, and some things we might consider as pretty basic that they just don't have the funding to address right now.
And at Grambling State University, I noticed some big things identified, and that includes infrastructure and roof repairs, but another big chunk of money as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so Grambling University, there's a lot going on at Grambling, and I think we're going to hear a lot from them over the next few years. They're really beefing out their academic and research mission, and they did get a pretty good chunk of money to help with their roof repairs, their infrastructure, but there is also a $6 million for their athletic facilities, which, as you say, Grambling also has an athletics program that's maybe not as high profile as LSU, but I think is a big name within people who follow HBCU athletics. They have a pretty incredible marching band, and all of it requires investments in these athletic facilities. This one is for an indoor athletics facility, which is really important for training those types of programs.
And I see $4.5 million for roof repairs. I'm sure that must mean roof repairs and some other things, I would think, right?
No, they're usually pretty specific.
Yeah, well, it's specific here. It says roof repairs, $4.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I saw this, $6 million that Ms. Hutchinson mentioned about the indoor athletics facility.
And that's the part of competing.
I mean, they need that. That's
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't, that's too much or anything. Yeah, that sounds about right. I would think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So the University of New Orleans has become LSUNO. And part of the reason is that it's been a tough financial time with the declining number of students. But help us understand how they made out in this legislative session, which looks had to be a little challenging because you're looking at and you're preparing for LSUNO. And, of course, you want that transition to go well. So how did they make out?
There were not a lot of one-time investments in the university this year. That may be because last year they got a pretty significant investment to help pay down their debts. The big things this year were almost $6 million for their hotel, restaurant, and tourism building. That's going to be a big focus as they switch into the LSU system. They're pretty optimistic that that's going to bring in new students and new money to the university. But LSU New Orleans also got a big chunk of money for roof replacements. This is costing the state a lot of money across the systems because Louisiana takes a lot of weather damage, and replacing and repairing those roofs while they're still functional buildings is really complicated.
Okay, and we've got a call. I know you only have a couple more minutes, but let's go ahead and get this call in before we go to break. Good morning, Don. You're on with Will Sutton, Ro Brown, and Piper Hutchinson.
Yes, very good morning. I've been wanting to try to find a way to get this question in, Ro, to you. When you, but you write Piper Lawrence, you said?
Hutchinson.
Piper Hutchinson.
Hutchinson. Oh, Hutchinson. What? Okay. When we talk about, Rose mentioned too much money, is there too much money in sports? It depends on how you look at sports. If you're looking at sports strictly from a player or coaching or administrative position, then maybe, yeah. But if you're looking at it as the impact on all of the industries that sports include, engineering, accounting, law, I mean, it's wide open. Sports is, I believe, after medicine, probably one of the biggest, and sports and medicine has an interactive relationship itself. So my question is, overall, those connectors to sports, those connectors to academics, how are we doing in those areas? Because I hear somebody say too much in sports, but $4 million, for instance, is about 1,000 inmates in prison. So we shouldn't be building more prisons. We should be improving academic institutions.
All right,
and
Don.
one thing, Ro, this is a question for Ro. This is a question for Ro.
Yeah, Don.
Ro Brown.
Yeah, but Don, we're going to have to move on because we are over for getting our break. And but Piper, do you have any comments about what he was talking about? Because I know we got to let you go.
Yes, so I think there is something to be said for the good that an athletic program can do for the university and its enrollment, but you got to think about the cost-benefit analysis. And when the athletic department starts becoming a drain on resources and they need all these bailouts from the academic side, you have to start questioning what is really going to be the priority.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Piper, for educating us about the higher education funding out of the legislature this year. Sounds like, generally speaking, the higher education institutions did perhaps better than they thought that they might. And that's good news. We do need to take care of our public education institutions. And I know there's always conversation about, as there was this legislative session, about do we have too many? So that's a part of the factoring in of budget and funds. And we'll watch for that as the year goes on. Thank you very much, Piper Hutchinson from the Louisiana Illuminator. Lord's blessings and have a great day.
Thank you. Y'all too.
All right. Very good. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have some more news and information. I want to keep you all thinking about Nolan Wells. I just want you to think about that some more. We mentioned him earlier. Young man, 18-year-old athlete, student, lost his life somehow over there in Mississippi. So we'll revisit that. Right now, we're going to break, and upcoming, we will have a few things that you'll want to know about, including what happened with our LEAP scores. That'll be coming up as well. Right now, it's WBLK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about. all day long.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Well, Saints of God, this is Pastor David Impartan Sr. coming to you over the airways of WBOK, your favorite host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want to invite you to our show every Saturday from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock p.m. That's Change Your Water, Change Your Mind. I want you to invite your family and friends to a broadcast that's designed to change your life, the way you think, the way you act, and what you eat. We want you to tune in every Saturday at 1 o'clock, WBOK, 1230 a.m. See you on Saturday.
This invitation goes out to all of us unworthy sinners who's been saved by the grace of God, where you and I are only made worthy by the blood of the Lamb and our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. We're FIJTC, Faithers in Jesus the Christ. My name is Mr. Rocky. You can tune in to WBOK, 1230 a.m. Sunday mornings from 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Hope to see you there.
This is Andronika Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am Will Sutton. I'm here with Ro Brown. It is 7:52 a.m. Good conversation with Piper Hutchinson about the millions and millions of dollars being pumped into higher education, generally with our public institutions, and in particular our HBCUs and our HBCU system. So it sounds like they're getting some much needed money to take care of some things that are overdue in terms of infrastructure and roof repairs and all kinds of things, but also on the academic side of taking some things. And one big investment for athletics at Grambling State University for indoor facilities. For a long time, HBCUs, including prominent ones, didn't have indoor facilities.
So does this mean, that they're going to do some sprucing up of the current indoor facility, the big facility?
Yeah,
is that what that means?
Yeah, I think that is what it means, because they did build out a, what do you call those big things outside that's not on the field where you can go in and practice
facility,
indoor
practice facility.
Right. Yeah, so they got that.
That's what they mean.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, so I think it's that. So look, I want to introduce some of you all. Hello? I want to introduce some of you all to Suzanne Lambert. And she is somebody that you might not know if you're not on social media. And even if you are, you may not be aware of Suzanne Lambert. Well, she is a political commentator, a social media personality. She is white. She is, for the most part, liberal, progressive. But she weighed in on this Nolan Wells case, and I found her comments to be something that we should share. Suzanne Lambert.
about Nolan Wells. But before I do that, I want to note that Nolan's mom does follow me, and in the event that she or other family members come across this video, please keep the comments respectful and in line with uplifting a family who just tragically lost their son. If there's any kind of nasty comments, racist comments, conspiracy theory type comments, my comment section is not the place for that. You will be blocked. This is someone's real life. Okay, this is someone's son. This is not a fodder for content. This should not have been Nolan Wells last summer. Nolan Wells was someone's baby. He was 18 years old, set to turn 19 next month, set to go back to playing football at his local community college. He was very well liked. He got along with everybody. He was radiant. He was a leader. And he went out with 3 friends. They went out to an island. His 3 friends returned to the mainland without him. And all 3 of those friends are white. And I know that when I say that, there are white people watching this who are immediately gonna say, well, we don't know what happened. And y'all, this is the difference. If the situations were reversed, if the circumstances were reversed, and it was 3 black boys who took a white boy out and the 3 black boys came back and the white boy did not, it wouldn't matter that they didn't know what happened. Those 3 black boys would have been in handcuffs. Those 3 black boys would still be in questioning to this day. I can see the Fox News headline now, right? They would have used it as proof. See, we told you black people were dangerous. We told you black people were bad. I've seen no such headline on Fox News about this. Have you? Even though, we know that white men are overwhelmingly responsible for situations of mass violence across the US, and I'm not saying every white guy, right? I'm not saying that. Here's the thing. Acknowledging that black people are in danger in this country, often at the hands of white people, often at the hands of white police officers, acknowledging that reality, because it is a reality, right? It's not a theory. It is evidenced by so much data and history and lived experience. Acknowledging that reality as a white person does not make you inherently dangerous, but refusing to acknowledge it does. We have to be able to recognize the double standard before we can do something about that. And genuinely, because I know there's people with all kinds of belief systems who follow me, I want you to sit with that. What would you think if you saw 3 black boys had taken a white boy out and the white boy didn't return? What would you honestly think? Throughout history, our criminal justice system has never waited to wait and find out what happens when it comes to incarcerating black people or punishing black people for crimes they didn't commit, or even killing black people for crimes that they did not commit. That is just the truth, and that is all I'm trying to say here. I am not trying to insert my personal commentary, because again, his mom does follow me, and I really do just want to be respectful and do what I can to support the family. And on that note, GoFundMe for his family is in my bio. It is the verified GoFundMe. I checked it across all of his mom's pages, and y'all, we have to do better to protect black children. We have to do better to protect black people. And that starts with listening to them and believing them, which we do a god-awful job at. We do a god-awful job. Just continue to pray for his family and that they get the answers that they deserve.
Okay. So there you have it. That's a different perspective from, I think, a bunch of white people that look like cases at this and have some other ideas. But, boy, she laid it out.
Yeah. Indeed, she did. Yeah. That's a mic dropper to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, Ryan's on the line. Good morning, Ryan. You're on with Will Sutton and Ro Brown.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to talk in my very white voice so I can, I believe that one of the Taylor gentleman in question, his father is a well-known judge in the county as well, or in a neighboring county.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one fact. Also, it's a little too coincidental. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but when young, promising black athletes are continuously having these issues, whether it be death or on trial for defending themselves against bullies, I mean, it seems like, is jealousy or their relations, or is the up and coming young black gentleman, is he having relations with, prominent white families, young ladies, that stuff starts to get a little tricky, because I grew up with it in smaller towns in Louisiana, and we had to fight tooth and nail because those young white girls wanted black athletes. That's just the way it is sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of jealousy, a lot of hatred, a lot of ingrained racism that come along with that. And, coincident, instance, I don't know, but it's troubling for sure when this continues to happen. And this is just the ones we hear about, I mean, it could be, there's probably lots all over the South that don't even make it to print or broadcast.
Yeah. Absolutely. Good points. And you're correct. One of the friends is the son of a, in that area, prominent judge. It's my understanding that each of the friends has been lawyered up, as they say. And meanwhile, the family has lawyered up as well with one and only Ben Crump.
Well, have any of the friends said what happened?
Not that we are aware of at this time.
Okay.
Ryan, Lord's blessings. Thanks so much for your call. Lord's blessings.
One more thing. I think also they've been
Ryan,
directed.
we got to go. I'm sorry. We got to go to the break. I'm sorry. So we'll try to get you tomorrow. And meanwhile, we got to get back on time. So, just in case listeners missed that, the Wells family has taken on the case with Ben Crump, who, of course, is seeking answers to what happened. And as we go to the break, I'm going to read one comment from Mr. Crump. We will not rest until every fact about what happened to Nolan on Horn Island is brought into the light, and we call on investigators to pursue this case with the urgency and transparency this family deserves. All right, we're going to break. And Ro Brown, what is that talk line number for those who might want to call about one of our upcoming segments?
The number is 504-582-9422.
All right. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk with Josette Sullins from an integrative care operation. We're going to be talking about mental health and what's going on in that field. Always good to talk about that. Sometimes we don't talk about it enough. That's when we lead to more problems. So that's Josette Sullins coming up after the break. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Maine Senate candidate Graham Plattner says he's taking time to reflect after a woman accused him of sexual assault in a report published this week.
Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false.
Plattner addressed the allegation in a social media video while also reaffirming his commitment to challenging Republican Senator Susan Collins in the upcoming election. Denver Public Schools is facing a lawsuit over its voting map. A legal group claims the district redrew boundaries to preserve Black and Latino voting majorities, raising questions about the use of race in election maps following a recent Supreme Court ruling. And Grammy-winning R&B legend Peabo Bryson will be honored this week in his hometown of Greenville, South Carolina. Bryson, who died in June at age 75 following a stroke, will be remembered during a public program Friday, followed by a wreath-laying ceremony. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. It is 8:04 a.m. We've got somewhere to be at 8:15. We got a few minutes, a little casual time, as long as it's less than 10 minutes away. If you need a little bit more time, just make sure you take care of your personal business at home before you get out there on the road. Be a safe and defensive driver. Watch out for the crazy drivers. I know that's not you, and don't become one, please. As promised before the break, we're jumping into a conversation with Josette Sullins, and she's from DEHP Therapeutic, and we're going to be talking about mental health. Good morning, Ms. Sullins. You're on with Will Sutton and Ro Brown. How are you?
Morning, Will and Ro. How are you?
Fabulous. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm up in Massachusetts, where it's really nice and cool compared to my Phoenix weather. So I'm doing good today.
All right, good. So how much time do you spend over there in Massachusetts versus Phoenix?
Not enough. What ends up happening is we have grandkids over here. So
hey, there you go.
Spoiling time. Spoiling grandchildren.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
All right. So, Josette, since you're on the Good Morning Show, we have a wonderful family of WBOK Good Morning Show listeners. They like to know who they're talking to, who they're listening to. And so, who is Josette Sullins?
I am actually the CEO of several integrative health clinics, and they're all over Arizona. We're in 4 counties, and then also in Maui. And so my biggest thing that I'm most proud of is the advocacy work that I do. We work with so many different populations, individuals. We're inside a couple of the prisons down there. And, we just really work to help people in all areas of their health care. And it's just been a blessing to be able to get to do that. And because we love it so much, we started branching out. Like I said, we're in Maui. And we're kind of take the show a little bit on the road. Well,
Maui, huh? When did you get to Maui?
It sounds like all fun and games, right? Because Maui is absolutely gorgeous. But
that's all right. I'm sure you get out of the office for a little bit.
No, I do. You cannot, when you step off the plane, you cannot help but feel aloha everywhere. It is just a magical place. I tell you, I love going over there. But one of the things is it's one of our areas in our states that have a lot of disparity. You're either uberly wealthy, you're working there like me, or you are, barely buying bread for your kids. So, yeah, it's one of those. But it's fun. It's fun to be able to help out. And, the one thing I can say about Maui is aloha is everywhere, regardless. And so it's a beautiful place.
Good. I may have missed it. What does DEHP stand for?
So it stands for Developed Expression of Human Potential. And so what ended up happening is I started out helping people with development back in the day, a long time ago before we did our preliminary investigation on if our technique worked or not. That's how I ended up in healthcare, is because it actually helps a lot of individuals by working on the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, which is getting a lot of great awareness now in mainstream. So I'm excited about that one.
AI.
Yes.
It seems that kids are leaning towards chat boxes for mental health advice. Is that real? Is that really happening a lot?
Unfortunately it is. And let me put it this way. The good news is our kids are looking for answers that they do not have. So they are searching out, for their mental health. And that's a positive, right? But the problem is the mental health field is so highly regulated. I don't even know how this is even a possible thing to do on AI. I know you've been on AI. I've been on AI, not for healthcare, but what ends up happening is, 98%, or sometimes it's 60%, or, sometimes it's 100% wrong. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're just, yeah. So it's not the place to go. When I was asked to be on this morning show, I was excited because, the biggest thing we have to do is really get that biopsychosocial assessment done. There could be a lot of things that are going on that aren't, that are not going to be picked up by AI. And the person asking for, help, they probably aren't going to know exactly what those things are. So
Well,
that's my really big thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So there are a number of things that I'm still learning, and about AI and what it can do, can't do, what its shortcomings are. But it really, in terms of mental health, it really concerns me that there are people generally, but particularly kids, who are going so deep into this with sharing feelings and concerns, and essentially some forms of AI are not comforting them, but sinking them deeper into depression and states of mental health that are not good and often leading to suicide. And
Right.
I mean, to the point of saying, well, you should probably consider this and look at this, and you do it this way. And it's like, that's very scary to me, as opposed to a certified counselor or therapist who is responsible for hearing these things and hearing you talk, and then kind of getting you on track in a pathway that is right for that particular individual, and that pathway with what you're hearing and what you're seeing. And I don't see AI seeing a lot of things, and often this is just typing on a phone.
You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
And so it's very alarming for everybody. I'm sure it's alarming for, people even out of the industry, because, your child is getting advice that is sourced from, cyberspace, a generic cyberspace. And like, to your point, Will, individualized care is what we all deserve and need. And so there is no way you're going to be able to get individualized information if you don't have that full biopsychosocial. And even with that, sometimes we do one every 6 months to a year. And taking a multidisciplinary approach is important, working with several people, because, we all are individual, like you said, and we all have specific needs that sometimes you need to have a medical doctor's opinion, or, a specialized psychiatrist in a certain field. And so you just can't get that on AI.
Yeah, no, Ms. Ollins, I mean, it seems like it would be difficult to combat this. Not that it can't be done, but, because, even before we started talking about artificial intelligence, we'd already gone to a culture where nobody's talking to anybody.
Right.
They're already looking at a screen in their hands. Everybody is right now. I mean, wouldn't you agree? I mean, that makes it even more difficult.
It does. And, when you were talking a little bit about the decline in mental health that can occur, when we start to suffer from some of the, more severe symptoms like depression and trauma, the body wants to go into what is called a fight, flight, or freeze mode, and we start to isolate. And so this is when an AI approach even gets more dangerous, because, first of all, you're not in your right mind because you're not being treated for all of these things that can be triggered that are coming up. And then now you're isolating because, sound advice is telling you, hey, don't do that. So then you're hiding it, and it becomes a real issue. And so that's another reason I wanted to be on, just to say, hey, it's great that you are looking for answers. Let's go ahead and work as a team with parents. If that's not an option, you can always call the 988 number. Well, I don't know if you know about that. It's a mental health hotline. And you get any type of information you need. And no, they're not going to show up at your door with a truck, to pick you up. It's really sound advice. And that you're not going to find on AI. But it is scary, for those that, it's telling individuals all kinds of things that have nothing to do with healthcare.
So, are there some mental health benefits with AI and chatbots and those kinds of things?
Some of the different, I know some of the different Medicaid agencies, the insurance companies, are moving towards creating a specific chat box or a chat bot. But the thing that they're doing is after you have a mental health biopsychosocial assessment and your acuity, which is the seriousness of what you're suffering from or experiencing, is known, it may end up being one of your tools in the tool belt, but it would never take over. Well, I'm not an AI specialist, but, I don't see it taking over mental health in the near future because of the things that we are talking about.
So, go ahead. No, please do. What about the parents' role with this? And I'm assuming that can be different, should be different for if you have a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 13-year-old, 15 or 17-year-old. But all of them these days, with the exception of some young ones, they are using AI. But even some of the younger ones, even if they don't have their own phone, they know how to use yours. And they're doing things.
My grandkids had my passcode. I'm like, how did that happen?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like they watch and they, it's like, wow, this, things you don't even, you're sitting next to a 5-year-old.
Yeah. I always tell people that, if I didn't have, my daughter's 37 now, but, when she was a child, if we didn't have her, we wouldn't have been able to operate anything in the house. Things needed to be set up, by computer. She was less than 10. Here, set up cable for us. I couldn't do that. And
Believe me, I totally get it.
They're just so attuned to this kind of stuff. What kind of signs do you look for? It's, I don't want to say it's easier for to see signs in an adult, that they might need some sort of, professional mental health. But how different is it to see it in children, or is it? I don't know.
It's very difficult to see it, and that's why you need the professional eye. First of all, when we talk about mental illness, we always say mental health, right? Mental health. There's mental illness components to mental health, and there's mental wellness components to mental health. So, if you're looking for some mental wellness components, there's positives to that. But mental illness is a whole totally different situation. A lot of individuals will say, I never knew that they were suicidal. One of the reasons for that is a mentally healthy mind doesn't think about suicide, right? You don't think anyone's going to do that. And so the parents are very non-assuming that anything could happen. Like you were saying earlier, my child has been on the phone since age 5. They know how to, operate the cable and do all these different things. So it's really easy to miss. And so the best thing is communication. And, that is where I think a lot of the kids are really seeking. They've been getting a lot of their communication from the phones and not family time. And you just have to ask those important questions. What are you looking at? What is going, what are you spending your time watching, seeing if you can't get on? I know a lot of parents will think that if you ask the suicide word, that it could cause suicide ideation. And studies show that that's not the case. It can actually help save your kid's life. And so it's really kind of understanding where they're at. And, kids don't know where they're at. You know what I mean? They're still growing until they're 25, 26. Their brain is not fully developed. and hence neither is their emotional IQ. And so here, they may feel one thing one day and 5 seconds later feel something else. And so it's really important to have those conversations with your kids and to go ahead and get your kids checked out, especially if they're spending a lot of time on iPhones or, excuse me, I didn't mean to single out, one electronic, but any electronic.
That's all right.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I try to be, just very non-biased here, and just, try to give some really good information.
Well, at least you didn't say BlackBerry.
I love it. Yeah, then I'm gonna really lose the listener.
Yeah, right.
Oh, exactly.
Miss
See,
Sullins,
my point.
you're just
She's got a BlackBerry.
you're just a fair individual, Miss Sullins. That's all.
Well, I really believe in the autonomy of the individual, and I really believe that, our children, deserve autonomy, but need to make sure that they are receiving it in a healthy manner and having that communication. Because, there are things out there that can work. Peer support is really growing with the adolescent population. But again, it's being, monitored by licensed professionals. But, there's a lot of fun and chic ways to go ahead and get your health care in where you're not having to, rely on AI, for that. And so being able to source your resources is important. Being able to have lots of tools on the table to choose from, and how you want to go about your health. So, but yeah, don't assume that they have zero issues because you're not aware of them. How many times do we find, the diary or the note or this or that, or that their best friend is aware of them or their best friend's parents. And so it's a lot, right, Will?
Yeah, it is. It is. So let's change this, and we're going to have to go to break now and shortly. And I know that you've got some things to do as well. But when you're dealing with a kid who you believe has some issues, doesn't seem to be themselves, seems to be sinking in terms of attitude and focus, it can be a stressor on the parent. Because depending on the child, depending on the relationship, the child may not be talking. They may be talking but not really answering your questions. And as a parent, and I know I've faced this, it's like, come on now, something's wrong. What's your advice and counsel for parents who want to be helpful for the child that they love, but they don't seem to be making any headway?
I think the biggest thing is to make sure that you're in the right headspace to be accepting and realize that you're talking, to your child on a very vulnerable situation that you might take offense to, that you may not have a skill set to know how to handle what is coming out of their mouth. And in doing something like that, if you overreact, it can have a big barrier between both the parent and the kid. And so there's a lot there too. And so it's always just nice to reach out to a professional that can help you, especially, if you don't have that strong relationship in this area. And we all know that we have strong relationships with our parents, our guardians in specific areas, but we grow the other ones. Just look at this as a growing opportunity. And, you don't want to fluff it up, right? So it's like you want to be there. And, sometimes you don't just jump right in. You have to build that rapport. Both the parent and the kid need to feel safe to be able to communicate. And sometimes it's just having that space outside of the office, outside of the house, to go ahead and do that in.
Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's smart smart health care.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Josette Sullins. We appreciate your guidance and your feedback about dealing with mental health generally, particularly for our kids, because mental health is an important part of health, and far too often, too many of us look at that and say, I'm not crazy. And it's not a matter of being crazy. It's about a matter of being healthy. Overall. Yes.
Yeah. Crazy never even comes into the equation. So
right.
We've gone past that. Don't forget about the 988 number. Anyone can call it, any age, 24/7. It's not my number. It's the National Mental Health number, and it's great. So,
but if somebody wants to get in touch with you or one of your colleagues, how can they find you on the internet or email, or what would you suggest?
Well, we would love that. So let me give the number, 602-607-0552, or you could go ahead and send an email to admin@dehpcare.com. And we will be doing some free webinars because, this is really kind of getting out of control. And the parents don't know what to do. And so when I have those, we'll reach out to you, Will, and, in case if you want to share those.
Okay. Sounds great. All right. Well, thank you once again, Josette Sullins, and we appreciate all of your valuable information. We're going to go to break now. Lord's blessings, Josette, and have a fabulous day.
You as well. Thank you so much.
All right, folks, it's 8:27 a.m. You got somewhere to be at 8:30. You got about 3 minutes, so I hope you are real close, or maybe you're sliding over to the other side of the bed, firing up the laptop, and getting on with whatever you're supposed to be doing. I am Will Sutton. I'm here with Ro Brown. We just wrapped up this conversation with Josette Sullins about mental health with a focus on kids. And I'm sure there are those of you who have something to say, whether it's about that or one of our earlier guests or calls. And what about Nolan Wells? And that situation really bothers me. I'm hoping to find out more. What is that talk line number, Ro?
504-582-9422.
This is WBOK 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm Daryl Forges with WDSU News, and here's your headlines. Happening now, New Orleans police are looking for leads after a deadly shooting in the 7th Ward. It happened around 8 p.m. last night at the intersection of North Rocheblave and Allen Streets. The victim died at the scene. We're working to learn what led to the shooting and if a suspect is in custody. If you have any information that can help police, call Crime Stoppers. You know the number. It's 504-822-1111. Today, New Orleans leaders are set to make an announcement about a new economic development project in the East. Mayor Helene Moreno, Councilmember Jason Hughes, and other leaders will launch the New Orleans East Investment and Job Corridors. The goal is to make the East a hub for job creation and advanced industry. Mid-City residents pressing developers over the soon-to-be demolished Lindy Boggs Hospital. 1 year from now, the site will be transformed into a stormwater retention facility. The abandoned building has sat idle since Katrina, but next week the process for the future begins. Lindy Boggs has a long history serving the community going back by about a century. And a beloved West Bank cafe will close its doors for good, becoming the latest in a string of closures across the area. Terrytown Cafe on Carol Sue Avenue says they made the tough decision to close after 41 years. They took to social media saying they decided not to renew their lease after the owners of the building sold it. They said they're staying positive and thanked all the customers and employees over the years. I'm Daryl Forges, and that's your headlines for WBOK. Have a great
Missed a show? Want to hear that guest everyone's talking about? WBOK is now streaming on all your favorite podcast apps. Just search WBOK Media, hit download, share with a friend, and don't forget to rate your favorite shows 5 stars. Because when our voices are heard, our impact grows.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
This is The Law in Your Legacy. I'm attorney Pete Hamilton.
I'm attorney Ryan Hamilton.
If you had $1 million, would you leave it to an 18-year-old?
Hopefully not, but that's exactly what can happen with a simple will. The money goes straight to your kids when they hit the legal age, no guardrails.
A trust lets you control when and how they receive their inheritance. You can set ages, milestones, or even make sure they finish school first.
Give them security, not a spending spree.
This is not legal advice. That's just a tip brought to you by Liberty Bank and Trust. For more information, go to libertybank.net or contact us at 504-915-5016.
Did you hear the news? Dr. Clark's 101, The Living Classroom, has a new time. Catch us now every Wednesday at noon. Same program, same great conversations. Just a new time. So catch Dr. Clark's 101, The Living Classroom this Wednesday and every Wednesday only on WBOK. What New Orleans is talking about.
This is Andronika Morris, host of Put Housing First. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, where we will discuss how housing affects every aspect of our lives and what's necessary, what's needed to guarantee housing for all. Join us every Tuesday at 12 o'clock as we dig down deep onto the issues that affect all of us.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Partly cloudy skies for today. We are expecting highs 91 to 96 degrees, feeling like the triple digits once again. The other story for us, the rain. We are expecting more storms to arrive in the afternoon. These will once again be hit or miss, so not everyone's going to see them, but if you do see some rain, any of that could be heavy. That could lead to some flash flood issues and a lot of lightning. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Rachel.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton. I'm here with Ro Brown, and we promised you before that we'd have a conversation with my colleague, education editor, reporter, and ace, Patrick Wall, and talking about these LEAP test scores. I just want to remind you all that, yes, I understand that LEAP is just one indicator of how our students are doing. But it's an important indicator, and that's how our state judges some things when it looks at our students. So good morning, Patrick, and welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and jump in. LEAP scores. What are LEAP scores, and how are we looking across the state of Louisiana?
Yeah, LEAP scores are the results of the test that students take every year.
and they take them in the spring in different subjects. In grades 3 to 8, they take them in math, science, social studies, and reading. And then in high school, they're taking them in different subjects, and they have to pass some of them to graduate. And then, like you mentioned, this is just one measure of how much students learn. They're tied to the state standards, and so they are aiming to say how much of what students are supposed to know each year did they actually retain and learn. And so this year, the results were pretty good across the state. Overall, when you combine the different subjects, students grew a few points to what the state says is the highest level that it's been. It was 36% of students in grades 3 to 12 were meeting expectations, which still means a lot of students are not.
Right,
but,
yeah.
But it is
not
improvement.
a majority.
Yes.
An increase.
Yes, it's an increase. And I will say, too, and this is something we can talk about with New Orleans also, is that, year-over-year changes aren't super significant. Experts will say you can't read too much into these scores one year over another, but longer-term trends are more meaningful. And Louisiana has been really growing since everyone's scores fell after the pandemic started. Mm-hmm. And in fact, Louisiana is one of the fastest growing states in the nation in terms of test scores. And New Orleans is even growing even faster than the state.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news. That's good news.
Yeah, that is good news. But Patrick, and it's not you. I mean, not that you can necessarily answer this, but there will always be a skepticism.
Yeah.
Even in the what looks like good news. I mean, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. I think one thing that educators and parents will say is that the tests are kind of a narrow measure of what students learn. They're just looking at one thing. And so one possibility is that schools are teaching to the test, and they're kind of narrowing their focus, not focusing on the arts, say, as much, or things that aren't tested. So that is definitely one concern. There has been some research in New Orleans that after all the changes, after the move to charter schools, it has improved test scores a lot, but there is a little bit less focus on the arts. And so that, I think, is a real thing. And then I think some people just, are wary about how the tests are used.
Yeah.
They're used in teacher evaluations. They're used in school ratings. Sometimes to decide which schools should close. In New Orleans, for charter schools, they have to meet certain benchmarks. And so, yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons people can be skeptical. I will say, and tests aren't perfect, it is one of probably the best measures that we have of just how much have they learned the material that the state says they're supposed to learn.
Yeah. And I was covering education on television before LEAP and when LEAP started, and it's looked at differently now. Then it was looked at as a punitive kind of thing. You're going to take this test so we can find out, see, gotcha, you ain't doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now it's, it's probably used the way test scores, I guess, should be used.
I think so. I mean, that's what state folks will say, that it's used to figure out where there are gaps in learning, which schools are not moving students enough, and then bring in support. And it is true. There was that period, the No Child Left Behind, when the federal government was really using scores to take serious actions, including closing schools, including replacing staff, things like that. That hasn't happened as much. They changed that federal law. And so there isn't as much kind of punitive kind of federal policy. And so I think that might affect some of it too. But I think you're right that still is kind of an association that people have a lot of times with these tests.
Mm-hmm. So what about New Orleans? And, because one of the things that folks here and across southern Louisiana thinks is that the Orleans parish schools are just not good, that they're not educating our kids well enough, and they look at places like even Baton Rouge and Jefferson is like far better school systems. But this seems to indicate something different, at least with this set of scores.
Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah. Well, New Orleans had a really great year on the test. They grew 3 percentage points, so even more than the state did. And like I was saying, when you look at the longer term trend, so the past 5 years since after the pandemic started, they have grown, the city's students have grown 12 percentage points, which is twice as much as the state has. And like I said, the state is already kind of outpacing most other states in the country. And so New Orleans is doing even better than that. And so the trends are definitely pointing upwards for New Orleans. It's across student groups. So different races, different demographics, economic, students with disabilities, all those different groups have made gains as well. And so that's a good sign. And so, yeah. And on top of that, you mentioned some of the surrounding districts. New Orleans is now a point above Baton Rouge and Jefferson Parish. It grew more than they did. That deserves a bell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there is a misperception. People, maybe remember how New Orleans was many years ago, the school system, when it had more challenges, or they just have associations with urban schools, whatever the thing is. But I think it's actually not, people's understanding is probably not the reality. The schools are pretty
And of
effective.
course, we didn't have LEAP then. So you can't just say, let's look at the LEAP data from 20 and 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it didn't exist.
Right. And the tests have changed over time too.
And they had almost twice the students. The number of students almost.
Right. Yes. Many more students back in the day. Yeah.
So are there any particular New Orleans schools or Jefferson Parish schools that really stood out? I know you just got the data and you all been doing a couple of stories. And one of the things that I like that you did is you go to your story and you can search for a particular school.
Right.
But since we won't have time to search for all of the schools, are there any particular ones that come to mind?
Yes, there were some, and I should say that I cover statewide education, so I'm not as immersed in individual New Orleans schools, but I know that there were some. Einstein, one of their schools saw, I think, the biggest gains in the city, like 16 points. Frederick Douglass High School made big improvements. I think the collegiate school. So there were. And I think that was a trend as well. The high schools made a lot of progress in algebra. I think they are outpacing the state, and so that was definitely an area of a lot of growth. So yeah, I think it depends on schools, but the good thing is that across the board, there really was improvement in the city.
Okay, all right. So we've got a caller. So let's. Oh, you. Okay, all right. Good morning, Alicia. You're on with Will Sutton, Ro Brown, and Patrick Wall.
Good morning, all. I get so disgusted when these people come on and tell these blatant lies. When you sit here and say that New Orleans is doing better, our children are passing, but yet schools are closing. And they're closing because the charters are not educating our children. So how could both of those be the same, where they're doing so great, but yet they're closing schools? Please answer that question. Please dispel that lie for me, because they're constantly closing our schools, and they're not because of population. It's because these charters are failing our schools. So if that is true, how could you say that New Orleans is doing so much better? Please.
All right.
Thank you.
Lord's blessings.
There are a few things I would say to that. One is that is true that they are routinely closing schools here. There has been some research in different types of charter schools, and usually the bigger networks have more resources, things like that. They tend to do a little better. So sometimes the individual schools might struggle, including financially, just to make ends meet. So that can be one factor there. And then another factor that I will say, this is not a popular thing, but researchers who've looked at this, is that actually say one of the drivers of the improvements in the city has been the closing of schools, of low performing schools, because over time they have gotten rid of a lot of the lowest performing schools. That's kind of lifted the overall improvement level. And then just the final thing I'll say is that even despite all that, it still can be the case that a school's scores might be good and not every parent or student is happy with the school and is satisfied with it. A lot of parents of children with disabilities say that their kids aren't always getting the services they need. The school might not be connected to the community in the way people want. And so I think it's a good point to remember that like test scores aren't the end all be all of whether a school is good and satisfying every parent.
Okay. Next call, we got Reverend
Real quick.
Calhoun. You're on with Will Sutton and Roe Brown and Patrick Wall.
Good morning, all. So how is we rated now in terms of national? I remember it was a time that Louisiana and Mississippi used to fight for last place, and I know we had won the fight. So, but where are we now? With all this data coming in and saying that there's such a big improvement, is the improvement from being down to coming up to maybe second or third behind the lowest? Or is it that we have now moved up to be on a competitive basis with other school systems in the United States? So I'm just trying to find out exactly where we are in terms of now that we have an increased grade point average, school average, because I don't know what we wrote. Was it Culver A, B, and C all D school rated back when you was there? All right, I'm going to hang up and listen.
All right, Lord's blessing, sir.
Well, as far as nationally, that's a good question. Louisiana as a whole has been growing, rising in the national ranks. And that's based on a national test. It's called the NAEP test. Some people call it the Nation's Report Card that students take every few years, a sample of students. And Louisiana has, again, been one of the states to make the most gains. Now, one note of caution is that one reason Louisiana grew a lot is because it was starting further behind. And so, they had a lot of room to grow. But while some researchers have called this period that we're in a learning recession, because definitely since COVID, learning has slowed. But even before then, especially in reading, students have just progress has slowed. But Louisiana has kind of been bucking that trend and has been continuing to push students forward in reading and math. So we're still not at the top by any means, but I think we're closer to the middle now than the bottom, which is a big gain for Louisiana. And then as far as New Orleans, it also has moved up. Within Louisiana now, I think the city is ranked up this year about 36 out of 70 districts, so right in the middle for New Orleans based on these test scores. And just 5 years ago, it was down in the 50s out of 70. And so New Orleans also has made a lot of progress just, compared to other districts in the state. And mind you, this is compared to some districts that have fewer students who, are coming from low-income families, things like that. And so they're kind of serving a more, students that have greater needs here and still improving.
Good. Sounds like you're going to have to come back, man.
There's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot here just with LEAP scores and looking at their comparisons across school districts and school to school, district to district. And you point out that what these scores show is improvement.
Right.
But if we have 50 or 60% of the students not doing well, then that's not where we want to be.
It's room to grow.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Patrick Wall, education editor at the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com. Sits right across from me in the newsroom. So sometimes I get to overhear his reporting, and I know he's drilling down with he and his team. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, let's talk about the loss of James Rivers. I'm Will Sutton with Roe Brown, and we'll be back right after these messages. This is WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
New Orleans, are you ready for a voice that says what you're thinking? Who that, you might ask? Arrington Gavin, That's right, I'm your guy, host of the Aaron T. Gavin Show, giving you so much filled with bold opinions, real conversations, and zero sugarcoating. We're going to be diving into the issues that matter, politics, pop culture, and all the above, unfiltered and unafraid. Catch the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Fridays, right here on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
Climate Hope NOLA presents this month's climate keyword, adaptation. Climate adaptation means preparing our communities for stronger storms, hotter days, flooding, and rising water. That means planting trees, restoring wetlands, protecting homes, and helping families recover stronger after disasters. In New Orleans, resilience is part of who we are and how we survive. Learn more, stay informed, and take action with Climate Hope NOLA. Visit Team Hope NOLA on Instagram to learn more.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another open enrollment update. Who do I have on the line today?
Hi, you're speaking with Vanessa Scott of BSG of Louisiana.
Can you tell us a little bit about what is open enrollment?
The open enrollment period is for Medicare members that want to change from one plan to another.
Why is open enrollment so important?
Because a lot of people missed out on the annual enrollment period, so they need to have a one-on-one review.
And if you have questions or concerns about your Medicare plans, what should you do?
You just pick up the phone, call 504-621-3687. We even come out to your house. Zero cost to them.
Get with BSG of Louisiana for your Medicare review. For church groups, senior communities, or disability organizations, call 504-621-3687. We are an independent insurance agency providing information about Medicare-related insurance plans. We are not connected or endorsed by Medicare or the U.S. government.
Throughout July, Louisiana residents get half off general admission to the National World War II Museum. Take advantage of 50% off and beat the summer heat at New Orleans' #1 attraction. Don't wait. Plan your visit at nationalww2museum.org.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
She asked about me.
But I told her about you anyway.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the morning show. It's 8:52 a.m. I'm here with Ro Brown. That was a little music from James Rivers, Ro.
Yep, James Rivers passed away Sunday. James Rivers, of course, was the extraordinary reed man who played, all of the woodwind instruments, harmonica and bagpipes, the whole works. Most people know him from the James Rivers movement, but he had a long, long career playing with everybody and just, it's just a fantastic, fantastic musician. I thought it'd be a good idea to have someone that spent some time playing with James Rivers. And that person is Donald Ramsey, outstanding bassist here in New Orleans, who has also played with a lot of people for a long, long time. And one of those was James Rivers. Good morning, Mr. Ramsey. How you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Brown. How you doing, Ro?
I'm hanging on. Hanging on. Now, I don't want to talk about any saints this morning, okay? I'm talking about St. James Rivers, okay? You spent a little time with him some time ago. What do you think when you hear that name? You think what?
Sensational. That's what you got to call this guy, man, because any instrument that he touched, he mastered it. You can tell by the tone that's coming out. Anything, the bagpipes, the harmonica, the flute, sax, tenor, soprano, doesn't matter. That's him.
Mm-hmm.
Sensational, yeah.
Sensational, yep, indeed. Now, you played with him a long time ago during the Tyler days, right?
Absolutely, man. We were at Tyler's. That was back in the early 80s when I started playing with James. And one of the best times of my life, except for when, I was I was telling you the other night, except for when, man, we had a gig downtown and from like 12 to 4:30 in the morning. And that one was kind of hard on me because I was in college, man, and I had finals the next day, and that was a little bit rough. But other than that, man, no, having a good. Look, me, I passed the test. I was sleepy.
Okay. All right. Now, one of the things about James Rivers is that he had this relationship with Clint Eastwood, the actor Clint Eastwood. You know, and you were around, I think, when that started, right? Or you saw the genesis of that, didn't you?
I absolutely, man. We were playing in Tyler's one night, and you know, it was almost like the end of the show. And walks in this guy. This guy walks in. I'm like, and I'm playing. I'm like, wait, is that? Almost messing up on my guitar, man. I'm like, wait, that's Clint Eastwood. And then I was told about the story about their relationship, and Clint Eastwood loved James Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved this guy. He's like probably a part of most of his movies, not most, but a bunch of his movies.
Yeah.
Playing music. That's right, doing the scores and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're talking to Donald Ramsey Basis, and we're talking about James Rivers, who passed away last Sunday. Outstanding New Orleans musician. What you heard, the music you heard after the break when we came in, and Jared, I want you to hit that again or just pick up where it was, because that was a performance by James Rivers at Carnegie Hall at a concert called Eastwood After Hours. This was in 1996. A lot of terrific jazz musicians were there and played at this affair. It was George Wein had something to do with it, honoring Clint Eastwood because he was a big jazz guy and he used a lot of jazz music in his movies and the whole works. And James just kind of, really, he kind of dropped the mic. Turn it up a little bit. We've got to bring it up a little bit.
What else were you wondering?
What it would be like to lick the sweat off your body.
And you're hearing some audio from some Eastwood movies.
Yeah.
But this was a live performance by James at Carnegie Hall. All right, Mr. Ramsey,
right.
What do you think? Huh? What do you think?
Typical James Rivers, dude. He knows how to shut down a place. Yeah, easily. Like he owns it.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me. Yeah, that's typical James Rivers.
Wonderful.
Well, Donald Ramsey, thank you very much. What you been up to? What are you doing? Where can people see you?
Just all over the place, man. I play with, a bunch of artists. Coming up, I'll be at the Drinkery. I'll be at Snug on Monday with Tremaine. At church, naturally, all the time. I can't forget that.
Can't forget that.
But just all over, man. Yeah. Just
I know. I got you. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time this morning, sir.
All right, gents. You guys take it easy. Have a great rest of the day.
Lord's blessings, sir. Thanks so much. All right. That's going to be it for us for this edition of the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton here with Ro Brown. Lord willing, I'll be back here another day, meaning tomorrow, if he wakes me up, if that's his decision. I'll be happy to be here with you once again. Stay tuned for the front porch, and after that, of course, we'll have Tavis Smiley And then in the afternoon, none other than the G-Man, Gerard Stevens, on the Reality Check. This is WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.